Hey there folks, this is GreenXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 16. In the last episode, we wrapped up the first arc. Everyone died. It said the battler went missing, but otherwise everyone died. And Beatrice was proclaimed the winner. So, today, last time we unlocked the tea party, which Higurashi did the same. They were all talking about what the hell happened, I guess. And today we're going to see exactly what that's about. I imagine it's only going to be short, you know, going from past experience. So let's have a look. Tea party, you've done well to make it this far. Have you enjoyed the stay on Rockanjima? Yeah, actually, I really have. The Golden Witch has granted you an invitation to a tea party. We hope you choose to attend. Of course we will. Let's see what it's like. I'll be honest, I didn't think it would be this short. Like, I know the episodes have been long, but I still thought there would have been more episodes. But let's have a look. Episode 1 Tea Party. Yeah. So there's going to be more of them, by the looks of it. Purgatorio. Like purgatory. Hell? Ish? Ooh, nice music to start it off. Hey everyone, congrats on finishing Umineko no Naku Koroni. I think I'd be used to saying that by now. Man, I still haven't a clue what was going on when the story ended. So just what happened? Was that basically the bad ending, where time runs out before the culprit gets exposed? Ooh, definitely a bad ending, wasn't it though? That's right. Beatrice's letter, which Maria-chan read on the first day, did tell us in advance to solve the riddle of the epitaph. We were all so busy trying to protect ourselves and look for the culprit that we didn't even take a shot at it. Well, they had a little bit of a go on the beach. That's right. If we had actually tried to solve the riddle, maybe things would have ended differently. I wonder about that. Shannon-chan, you did a good job too. You don't have to be our waitress and serve tea. After all, this is a wrap party. As a group of people who met a horrible fate, let's all get along and lick each other's wounds. Lick, lick, lick. Speaking of a horrible fate, Shannon beats the rest of us hand down, doesn't she? She was such a beautiful character, so I thought she'd definitely survive until the very end. But she was killed right in the beginning, and on top of that, what was it? Half of her face was smashed, right? That's the worst. That was my role, so there's no way around it. Nissan, it's nothing for you to worry about. Judging by the last epilogue, even Milady and the rest of them met an extremely tragic end. Yeah, if that's any consolation. It seems so. I think I remember seeing this horrible picture, kind of like my entire body had been eaten apart and dismembered. Speaking of which, don't you think Cannon's last moments were the coolest? Even though he had the tables turned on him, it was a showdown with the culprit, right? It was a good one, it cackled and everything. It's a whole bunch better than our confusing last moments, right? Though in the end I was unable to get a solid hit in. Still, I think Cannon-kun's death was a big hint. After all, because of that, the existence of the 19th person was made clear. That's right. At that time, everyone's location was obvious, so it was impossible for anyone other than some unknown 19th person to kill Cannon. Ooh, I said it was Beatrice from the beginning, over and over. Ooh. I don't want to believe it, but that does prove the culprit was a witch calling herself Beatrice. That's right. There are many strange things that happened that a human couldn't do. Ooh, only a witch could do things like murdering Aunt Eva in that closed room. A human couldn't do it. Ooh. Not only is the existence of a 19th person clear, but it's also obvious that this person holds a power that humans can't even imagine. In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling this person Beatrice. We probably met at the very end. Met with the Golden Witch. Like I kept saying, Beatrice exists. It all went bad because no one ever believed. Ooh. Even one of her witch friends says that miracles won't occur if you don't believe. Ooh. That's right. Beatrice-sama is generous to those who respect her. It seems to me that Maria-sama was never a target of Beatrice-sama's wrath up to the very end, despite the horrible crimes that occurred one after another. Well, Maria believed in Beatrice from the very beginning. But if that's the case, how do you explain why you and the rest were all killed? You guys believed in Beatrice just as much, right? Beatrice-sama probably had her reasons. If the Song of the Epitaph represented Beatrice-sama's resurrection ceremony, many sacrifices were needed. He must simply have been designated to be one of those. Shannon-chan, you met a horrible end. At the very least, I wish your death could have been more peaceful and pretty. Oh, well, it's not like it hurt. Anyway, Right now I'm perfectly fine, so don't worry. After seeing him stroke Shannon's cheek, which had been crushed during the story, everyone laughed out loud, smiling. Well, it feels a bit weird saying this, but I was sure the story would fit into the standard mystery genre. Bit surprised to find out that it's a fantasy. After all, a western mansion shut away from the outside world on an isolated island with an inheritance problem on everyone's minds. Sounds just like a typical mystery novel to me. Oh, it's not fantasy. Beatrice exists. Oh. Yes, we understand. Beatrice Sama does exist. That's right. Beatrice Sama does exist. Why do I have quote marks around exist all the time? I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice. Because it's obvious that a 19th person, a witch, was involved. Many things happened that would be impossible for humans. During the story, we tried to deny that in all sorts of ways. But now I can say it for sure. Each crime, every single one, would have been impossible for a human. They'd be impossible to carry out unless it was the witch Beatrice, whose know all the power magic could provide. The culprit was a witch. That point's perfectly clear. Long live Beatrice. Ooh, everyone believed. I'm so glad. Ooh. Gods and witches might seem terrifying to people who are frightened of them, but I think they must be affectionate to those who believe in and respect them. I think you're right. So this murder case game is finally over. Now's the time to pull ourselves together and try hard to solve the riddle of the epitaph, just like Beatrice said, right? Ooh, I agree. Beatrice will definitely be happy. Everyone ignored that letter during the story. Even though it was thrust right in front of us, we almost completely ignored it. I kind of feel sorry for Beatrice Sama. I got the epitaph written down right here. Let's all solve it. Let's all solve it. This story probably went wrong ever since that time. That may be so. Maybe we should have tried solving the epitaph's riddle from the beginning, like Beatrice said. Maybe. It's a little late now. Yeah, we're all dead now. Even so, let's try solving it now and see if the witch forgives us. Let's go. Let's try to solve the riddle of the epitaph. It was something like, "Behold a sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown." Maria put a notebook on the table and opened to the page where the epitaph was written. Everyone stared at it, getting really into it as they started guessing this and that about the riddle. Surrounded by the smell of black tea and freshly baked vanilla cookies, they spent the time comfortably and happily. Hold on a second, you guys. But Battler spoke in a way that cut through the conversation. His expression looked a little unhappy. What could he not like about all this fun? I've been listening to you guys for a while, but why did you all stop thinking? Why are you so sure that the witch was behind all this? Don't you realize something like that can't exist? With just those words, the happy atmosphere surrounding the tea party evaporated in an instant. George and Jessica, and Shannon and Cannon, and Maria, all of them stared blankly, wondering what in the world Battler was talking about. Even the foolish, arrogant Battler realized that he hadn't chosen his words well. Because, isn't it clear that these crimes were impossible for a human? That's right, that's right. None of the cases would have been possible for a human. That's true. After all, wasn't it full of things that humans couldn't explain? I don't understand what you're saying, Battler-sama. I'm the one who doesn't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Isn't it obvious that humans committed these crimes? There's no way something like a witch exists, right? Then, what about when I was killed in the storehouse and something horrible was done to half my face? If the culprit was human, how could they have accomplished it? Well, it's hard to imagine how they did something that awful. But that was the Rose Garden storehouse, right? I'm sure there were plenty of weird tools in there. Let's say they used some electrical tools like a grinder or an electric saw. Then Battler, how do you explain Grandfather's disappearance from the study when it was a closed room? Even though the door was sealed, Grandfather just suddenly disappeared, right? We talked about that during the story too. It's not impossible that Grandfather used some trick to fool the receipt. It's also possible that he went out the window, fell down, and Aunt Nasui locked the window from the inside. I could think of a bunch of tricks you could use without relying on magic. That makes sense, but... In that case, Battler-kun, how do you explain the way my parents were killed in the guest room? The door was sealed by the lock and the chain. Naturally, the window was sealed too. How do you think a human could have killed my parents? We did have to leave that trick alone during the story. Anyway, there's at least a good chance the culprit had a key. and it was possible to look in through the crack of the door that the chain allowed. I know this is a stretch, but it's possible some device was used through that crack. Like maybe they stuck something through it. Well, even though a door chain is incredibly simple, it's a big factor in setting up a closed room. Still, there's probably some closed room trick they could have used. If you bought some closed room mystery novels from the bookstore, you could probably find some trick that would fit perfectly. I remember in Sherlock Holmes, what was it called? Without meaning to spoil, I won't say which story it is, but there was one with a snake going down a chimney. That was a closed room one. Anyway, I can't think of one now, but I claim that there's nothing humans can't do if they try hard enough. Isn't that argument horribly irrational? It's just ridiculous to claim that it is possible for a human to do something, even though you can't explain how. Why is that ridiculous? Why did all of you stop thinking? Even something that looks impossible has to be doable. Doesn't it always work like that? Battler, you're the one being ridiculous. If you think a human could have done it, try explaining how. You can't, can you? And you're okay with saying the culprit is a witch just because I can't explain it? With that argument, all the unsolved crimes in the world could be resolved by saying a witch is the culprit. Battler, you're sidestepping the issue, and you aren't explaining anything. We're saying a human couldn't have done it. Therefore the culprit is something that isn't human. And that something is a witch. And yet you keep arbitrarily deciding that witches are impossible, even though you can't explain anything. It's almost like humanity was during the Dark Ages, like those fools who claimed the heavens spun around the earth, those who said that the earth couldn't be spinning, even though they couldn't explain why. That kind of argument kind of pisses me off. So this is basically what you're trying to say. If I can't explain how a human could do it, then I must accept that the culprit is a witch? It's not like we're forcing you to go that far. We were just wondering on what basis you can say such nonsense. Nonsense? Hey, have I really been saying something that weird just now? Am I the one who's crazy? You guys are really starting to freak me out. Battler Sama. When I died in the boiler room, I was killed by a 19th person who shouldn't exist. Can you explain how a human could have done that? At that time, the locations of the 18 were well known. Even so, I was killed. We talked about that in the story as well, right? Kumasawa Bachan, for example. She said she followed right after you and headed down to the boiler room, but we can't know for sure whether that was a lie or not. For all we know, she might have entered the boiler room with you and caught you by surprise. Or maybe when you stepped into the boiler room, you activated some kind of trap, one that might have been set up to hit you with one of those ice picks. After all, the stinker grandfather's body was coming from the incinerator. Someone was bound to go and check, so if the culprit just set up a trap beforehand, they could easily have stayed away from that place and used the time of Kanan-kun's death to create an alibi. You talk about a trap in the boiler room. What kind of trap could that be? That's right. Following his death, everyone immediately ran over to the boiler room. But we didn't find any kind of weird device, did we? That's correct. Battler Sama, what kind of trap could I have been killed with? I don't know that. But anyway, they must have used some kind of clever trap, or maybe someone's lying. Or what about this? Kanan-kun, what if the whole thing was just you play acting? That's it, you were play acting. Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi were also play acting. They made the closed room themselves, were only pretending to be dead. Battler, has your head been, feeling okay? Should I bring some cold drinks? Don't look at me with those pitying eyes. I'm not saying something that crazy, right? I'm just pointing out some possibilities you might find if you think of it all as a trick. Look, isn't it a pretty classic trick in mystery stories to have one of the victims just be playing dead? A classic trick? In other words, when Kanan-kun was killed, we knew for sure where all the rest of us were. Let's assume that Kumasawa Bachan wasn't lying. But that's only counting the survivors. What if the culprit pretended to be dead and joined a group of real victims so we'd lose track of them, and then acted on their own later? Everything would be explained. Huh? So you're trying to say that Aunt Eva or one of the others was the culprit? But didn't Dr. Nanjo confirm all their deaths as a doctor? That's right. Dr. Nanjo checked all the victims. Battler Sama, for your theory to work, wouldn't Dr. Nanjo have to be one of the culprits too? Yeah, that's right. Once you consider that Dr. Nanjo might have been one of the culprits and faked the proclamation of death, the whole story changes. See, that's also a classic trick in mystery novels, isn't it? But Dr. Nanjo was also killed, right? About that. That's right, Dr. Nanjo faked his death. After all, there wasn't anyone except Dr. Nanjo who could examine corpses properly. Everyone was really confused then anyway. We didn't have any spare time to check and see if he still had a pulse. With this theory, any one of the dead people could have been walking around. I think it would have been hard for the 6 of us who died in the beginning to do that. After all, the shutter was closed. There was a padlock that couldn't have been opened from the inside. That's right. Mom was holding on to that key. So was Mom one of the culprits too? Wait a sec. Maybe it was impossible for the first 6, but in the case of Aniki's parents, the door was only locked on the outside. So they could have opened it from the inside. That's right. After we left the room, maybe they jumped out the window and got to the boiler room first. Is that too much of a stretch? Or maybe Dr. Nandro made a mistake when examining the corpses. Look, he said it himself, right? He said there's a very high probability of making a mistake when examining corpses. If he disguised it well enough or prepared a substitute body, you could fake your own death. Let's leave it the method or trick they used for later. You see, it's not that hard to deny a 19th person existed, right? Much less a witch, right? At least that much is completely impossible. I don't know why you've been trying so stubbornly to say that one of us is the culprit. Kihihi. In other words, you want to suspect one of your relatives? That's not it. It's just, I can't easily accept that a 19th person existed. Even if one did, I think we should construct our argument from the point of view that the culprit was a human. I'll only accept that it's a witch in desperation, at the very end, after everything else has been disproved. There's no way witches exist, right? Why has everyone been casually accepting that the culprit was a witch? I think it's great how your family love makes you hate the thought that someone close to you is a murderer. But is it okay to let that fool you? Don't you want to find the detestable culprit who killed so many people? Aniki, don't you want to avenge your parents? Jessica, don't you want to avenge Kanakun and Kanakun? Don't you want to avenge Shannon-chan? Shannon-chan, you should at least want to know who it was that killed you. Why is everyone totally surrendered and decided that the culprit was a witch? What's wrong with all of you? The foolish and short-tempered battler tried to force his ignorance on the others and yelled at them. However, everyone just looked at him pityingly, silently watching over him. At that time, the wise Maria laughed and pointed out Battler's mistake. I'm shocked. All I see is you repeating this nonsense, thinking you figured something out, Battler. So, what's next? How would a human do it? In practical terms, I mean. I imagine you'll say I just can't think of anything now, or with some kind of device, using abstract words to run away and evade the topic. What I really want to know, Battler, is this. Why don't you believe in Beatrice? She exists, so why don't you believe? 'Cause she doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. There's no way. It was almost like a spoiled child who just doesn't want to accept something. The pitying gazes quietly closed in around Battler, but they didn't reach his stubborn heart. You realise that you're acting just like a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum, right? Battler-sama, I understand your feelings, but Beatrice does exist. Battler-kun, why don't you believe? Even though there's so much proof. I don't accept the argument that the witch must have been behind everything just because I can't explain it. Does this mean that if you don't know how a light bulb shines, then magic is the cause? That's wrong, isn't it? There's nothing that can't be explained without magic. All this about witches and magic is just abdication of thought. You just surrendered and gave up because you don't understand what happened. Isn't that right? Well, unsurprisingly, looks like you alone won't believe no matter what, Battler. If even a single person doesn't believe, the miracle won't occur. So, if you don't rethink your ignorant theories, the miracle, the magic won't be completed. Now I see. I finally figured it out. So in other words, you guys are trying to force me to say the witch exists, right? A lie that everyone accepts becomes the truth. Is that what this is all about? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I keep going on about this, but what you're doing is all useless. I refuse. You guys are all pressing me, and that's why it's all useless. Why? Sorry, but why don't you let me spin the chessboard around one last time? If you want to force me to accept that there's a witch, there's a really easy way. And it's not the indirect way of saying it must be a witch because humans couldn't have done it. All you have to do is show me a witch doing it with magic. Furthermore, what Maria said earlier is what will dig her grave. You said that if even one person doesn't believe, a miracle won't occur. But real miracles happen whether people believe in them or not, even if I alone don't believe. So any miracles or magic or witches that exist only because I believe in them are downright lies. The uneasy mood following Battler's ignorant rant was blown away by a very soft and light laugh. Whose laugh? Battler was surprised. He had never heard that voice before. When he looked at George and Jessica, at Shannon and Cannon and Maria, he noticed that they had suddenly gone respectfully silent. There she is! Beatrice! How amusing. I haven't met such a charming human for quite some time. Who are you? Alice in Wonderland, who are you? Don't you even know the host of the tea party you were invited to? How amusing indeed. Cackle, cackle. This is Beatrice Sammer, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. It's an honour to be graced with your presence, Beatrice Sammer. Please forgive Battlerkun's ranting. This guy's just stubborn, and he still doesn't understand the situation he's in. Cackle, cackle, cackle. What a treat this is. Most witches get tired of living after the first 1,000 years. How nice it is to meet a man with backbone such as yourself every once in a while. It's quite an honour to be present when Beatrice shows herself, Battler. How astonishing. Are you really that desperate to make me believe that a witch, that a 90th person is the culprit? This is starting to get interesting. And it's all useless. It must be the illusion that Maria and the others call the witch Beatrice. And you'll only be allowed to exist if everyone believes it. You have that kind of a half-existence, right? That's why you want to make me believe too. You can't exist because I alone don't believe in you. Isn't that right? Your powers of comprehension aren't bad for a mere commoner who knows nothing of magic. Yes, it seems you were born with a strong magic-resisting power. You're a natural enemy of us witches. No matter how much we turn your world upside down, you never believe in us. Therefore, the magic won't succeed. I accept that attitude of yours. I've got no clue what you're saying. It's very kind of you to go to all the trouble of showing yourself to us, but I don't believe you exist in the slightest. It's true that many strange things happened during those 2 days. Like Maria said earlier, even though I think all the tricks could be explained, I still can't lay out the practical details of each one. However, that doesn't mean I'll surrender. I'm different from the rest of them, got it? I'll never accept that it was the work of a witch just because I can't explain it. This keeps getting more amusing. Making you surrender will be worth my while. You're just the kind of man I'd like to force into praising my name. I'd love to try making a man like you kiss my toes. If you want to talk nonsense, talk all you want. I deny you exist. I'll explain all these events with humans and tricks. There's no room for even a speck of magic or witches. Wonderful. What a perfect way to divert oneself from 1,000 years of boredom. Then let me ask you. A short while ago, you said that using the crack in the door would be sufficient to kill Eva and Hideyoshi, right? Explain how they could have been killed using some human trick. Suddenly jumping right into the toughest part, you? Does that mean this is the trick you're proudest of, Miss Real Culprit? Ooh, that's an interesting affair. With a shake of her golden pipe, gentle, multicoloured smoke trailed out of the end. The smoke quickly obscured their surroundings, and they were suddenly in the hallway of the mansion. Ooh. It's all really getting really magic-y. The door in front of them, slightly open but secured by the chain, was... That's right, it's the door to the room where Eva and Hideyoshi were killed. Nice trick. Very well. Show me what you would do through this small crack, Battler. Ugh. They probably had some device to shoot those ice picks. If they use that. How would they reach Eva over on the bed when you can't see that far through the crack? How would they reach Hideyoshi in the bathroom with the door shut? Damn. There's a crack. There should be some way. If you can't think of one, allow me. Oh? How would a witch do it? Come on, let's see a little trick. Battler, you're being rude to Beatrice. How nice, how nice. What a charming man. That will make it even more fun to force him into submission. Heh. You really want to make me kiss your toes that much? Only if I surrender. But watch. I'll definitely expose this trick, and then I'll make you kiss my ass instead. What a delightful man. I'll remember that promise. Weak witches kiss the behinds of demons to gain power, because there's no more humiliating oath. Just being told that makes me want to force you into surrender. Paying no mind to Battler's worthless ranting, Beatrice once again shook the golden pipe. That's right, that golden pipe was her precious magic cane. Come, arise, children. I am the guide of purgatory. Forgive the deadly sins and hold the 7 stakes. Guided by those magic words, which sounded like a command, 7 stakes gathered. They were the stakes of the 7 demons, symbolizing the deadly sins of sinful people. Beelzebub and Asmodeus, come, forgive the sins. Release the spirits of the sinners. What? The picks of Beelzebub and Asmodeus responded to Beatrice's call. The 2 sticks of the demons were sucked in through the cracks of the door. Crack. Like billiard balls struck by a cue stick. Then several scattered noises refracted through the wall, making a sound like a woodpecker. And at the end a pleasant sound could be heard. I love that. It was a small, satisfying sound, like the one heard when someone is chopping firewood and the falling axe neatly and easily slices through the wood. It was the sound of the 2 picks burying themselves deep into Eva's and Hideyoshi's foreheads. Right down the middle. Honestly, they definitely heard 2 sounds like a pair of foreheads being split open. Battler wasn't permitted to see it, since he was on the other side of the door. But those 2 had died again, and the second time, they lay not an inch apart from where they had lain the last time, with the exact same blood spray as before. You moron. That's insane. You think you can just kill them like that? I can kill them. I can kill them just like this. Suddenly, they were no longer in the hall, but seated at the tea party they had started from. Everyone but Battler was sitting meekly, but Cannon was moaning, fresh blood dangling from his mouth. What a rude thing to do at a tea party. Satan's stake was buried deep into Cannon's chest. Cannon-kun! Cannon-kun! Damn it! Battler was the only one getting agitated. George, Jessica, Shannon, everyone else was meekly hanging their heads like students being yelled at by their teacher. Cannon was captivated by a trifling anger and tried to disturb my banquet. Being easily captivated by anger is your deadly sin. Cleanse yourself, repent, and do it over. At Rice-sama. Beatrice-sama. Oh, please, forgive him. I think Cannon-kun's repented enough. Wonderful. I'm generous to those who respect me. Don't screw with me. Do you think I'll accept your existence because of this cheap act? Like hell, you're a 1,000-year-old witch. Your tricks aren't 1,000 years old. They're just the sum of a century of classic tricks from the mystery genre. There's no such thing as magic. Definitely not. All the crimes can be explained with humans and tricks. You'd explain my 1,000 years with 100 years of humans? Good, good. This is precisely why I've taken a liking to you. Foolish Battler. Cut it out, Battler-kun. You can't go against the witch. Shannon started moaning, holding her cheek. Maybe she had a toothache, but apparently it wasn't a toothache after all. A slight redness spread across the cheek Shannon was holding. It looked like that redness was causing Shannon unbearable pain. Her fingers were pressing in against her cheek, and drops of sweat appeared all over her body. Shannon, Shannon, hang in there, hang in there. What's going on? Damn it, what the hell's that red stuff? It expanded rapidly, covering half of Shannon's face. Then the stupid dunce Battler finally realised. Please, Battler-kun, please believe in Beatrice. I beg you. Because you won't believe, because you won't believe. The magic is dissolving. For the first time in his life, Battler heard that sound like a pomegranate splitting. The red spray even landed on Battler's face. Poor Shannon's face had been split in half, and her last horrible moments in that storehouse were repeated once again. Shannon, Shannon. Damn it, damn it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Don't humiliate the dead. Don't humiliate the dead. This time the redness spread across George's entire body. It was like the beautiful cloud drawn by milk when it's poured into black tea. It spread out and extended across his entire body. As it did, it seemed to give George increasingly greater pain. Looking at this bizarre spectacle, Battler was petrified as he frantically thought with his pitifully clumsy imagination about the nature of this strange death George and the rest were experiencing. Eventually, that redness reached the nearby Jessica as well. Gah! Stop it, stop it. What did Aniki do? What did Jessica do? Just stop it. Battler, don't let the witch break your spirit. Deny her, erase her. As long as at least one person denies her, she's an illusion that can't exist. You okay, Jessica? Aniki? George was no longer recognisable as a human. He looked like the pile of leftover meat after the good, delicious meat has been scraped off to be cooked. The only thing that even resembled a human was the shape of his lower jaw and rib cage, and it was clear that Jessica, who was covered with a steadily strengthening redness, was approaching the same fate. Ooh, battler. Quickly believe in Beatrice. If you don't, everyone's magic will dissolve. Maria, it's all over your body too. I revive all the dead with my magic, but as long as you don't believe, that magic will hold no true power. I'm sure that a man like yourself won't surrender to something like this, right? Battler, we didn't want to doubt our friends. We refused to face reality and gave in to the witch. But Battler, you won't give in to the witch. Jessica! Poor Jessica met the same end. Just like George, she ended up like a butcher's leftovers. George and Jessica were now so destroyed, melted and mixed up, it was impossible to tell them apart. Battler, don't cry. Beatrice will restore the dead over and over, so there's nothing to be sad about. So, even if we die, we're still just fine. The redness began eating into the whole of Maria's body. The foolish battler watched and screamed. This is violent. I'm not complaining. I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you. A witch? Magic? I'll risk my body and soul to deny you. No matter what happens, I can't accept you. Now that you've gone so far to piss me off, I'll never forgive you. I won't forgive. I definitely won't forgive you. You regret making me, a Shuremaya battler, your enemy. I'll deny you no matter what. No matter how baffling things get, it can all be explained by humans. I'll erase every cell of you from this world. Well said. Battler, was it? That's just the thing to divert me from my 1,000 years of boredom. Come, explain. Try explaining it all with humans and tricks. And learn how lowly humans are. Let's see if what humanity has built up in 100 years can oppose my 1,000 years. That's what will make forcing you to submit so pleasant. So tell me, you who call yourself Battler, what about Maria's letter? How the 6 were killed? Just a sec, I just want to compare her to Rika from Higurashi and how bored she got with all the sort of repetitions of all the deaths and everything. A shutter? The receipt seal? A closed room with a chain? Cannon in the boiler room? Genji and the others in the lounge? Netsui's suicide? The riddle of the epitaph? The location of the hidden jet gold? Yes, Battler, why don't you show me the power of humans? It's just too much. Oh, there we go. I wasn't sure how in depth we were going to go there. Yeah, so Battler had a lot to take on there, didn't he? I have no idea what this is all saying, by the way. All season... It's all the people who made it, right? All the different... Well, and scripter, you know. Software. Oh god, like I was saying earlier, I didn't think this would be so... I say short. Also, like I said, the episodes were pretty long. But... yeah, it seemed pretty short. But I think now we've actually finished the first act, including the tea party now. I'm so tempted to just go on with the second act, but we'll have a break. We will have a break. We'll get back to it, though for definite. I am gagging to, honestly, but... oh. I won't say any more until we see the after this, just in case there is a bit more. I'm not sure if there will be or not. Just keeps going. I don't have a clue what it's saying. You'd think it would have, like, subtitles, you know, in English. Yeah. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments, because I haven't really heard anyone talking about it. I haven't really had any comments, so I don't know if people are even enjoying it that much. We had some comments in the first episode saying it was different, which I like. I like different. I really enjoyed it, anyway. It starts off a bit slow, but I really enjoyed it. And there we go. It says when they cry 3. I think 1 and 2 are both Higurashis, like question arcs and answer arcs. So we have done everything so far. Addition of new elements has been added. You can find this new feature. What's that? It's another achievement, anyway. But the Tea Party of those who are not human. There is going to be another one. Oh my god. Alright. We won't check that out this time. We'll leave that for next time. I didn't think there would be another special feature. So, this has been Greeny XI. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit. Now we've had a few theories and a few questions thrown at us, we can get on to what the non-humans think, I guess. We've only met Beatrice. Who else could that be referring to? Anyway, thanks again for watching, folks. See you again real soon.